Okay, so can you see this? Can you see my screen? Yep, great. Okay, everybody, so I'd love to welcome you tonight to one of the overviews of LiveVantage Australia. Before we get started, I would just like to put a disclaimer out there right now to say that we as a company cannot say that we can treat, prevent or cure any disease, but what we can say is that what you're going to hear in the next half an hour from Nicola Rule actually talk about what causes disease in the body and what our products can do to try and lower that issue. So we can't say that we can prevent or cure anything, but we definitely, I think by the end of tonight, you will get a much greater understanding of how everything works. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so this is me. My name is G. Fletcher, and I'm from the Sunshine Coast, but I was originally from Ireland. So I've been over here in this country 26 years. I'm a mom of 2, and I've been an entrepreneur and a business person, business owner for the past 22 years. So started off in Sydney 20 odd years ago when a girlfriend of mine challenged me, did we want to open up a recruitment agency? Now there was a lot of money that we actually had to put up for it, and I didn't know a lot about it, but I was game to give it a go because I could see an opportunity, and I just thought, what's the risk if I save up all my money and do it? Well, we went on to be very, very successful in that, but also what comes with that, being a business owner, you are on that, as they say, kind of like the little guinea pig, the little wheel. And I just found that once I had a baby and they were in childcare 5 days a week and I'm working 12 hours a day in the city, it wasn't much fun. So we moved to the Sunshine Coast and opened up a clinic where my husband is a dental prosthetist. And that was all going well, but I just didn't feel that I had much of a purpose in that role. I was really passionate about health and wellness. My husband actually has an autoimmune disease, so I was really always interested in DNA and telomeres and how you could maybe manipulate it, your DNA. So when this company and when this opportunity came along, I was super excited by what the little yellow pill could actually do. A couple of reasons. One, from a health perspective, because there's nothing like it out there in the world, and you'll find that out when you hear Nicola talking about it. But 2, my little entrepreneurial head went on as well, and I started to think, what if this is something that I can bring to our family, and I can teach lots of people and I can help lots of people all over the world, because the timing is right with this product and it is unique and it is affordable. So hence that's what I've done, and I've been with the company 14 months, and I've become a Pro 6, which is basically you rank in the company 6 levels. So that's just a little bit about me. We're now going to go into what is LiveVantage all about. So basically, the company is all about, we are the leaders basically in nutrigenomics. Now, if you're anything like me, I never knew what nutrigenomics was. About 15 months ago, I'd heard of other things, but I had never heard of nutrigenomics. And basically, what it means, it is the study of how nutrition, basically food and natural occurring compounds at any substance can affect your genes. So basically what we are trying to do, up till now, scientists and people thought that once you had your DNA, that this was it. Whatever you were predisposed to actually having in your DNA, that's what you're going to have. But now they've actually found, by actually activating and turning on switches and manipulating your genes, you can actually change the actual nature and affect your genes, which is really, really exciting. So a little bit about just kind of the history of what has happened with health over the last, couple of 100 years. So everyone kind of knows, everyone knows about scurvy. So the first generation was all about addressing the problems of deficiencies. So they found out when people went on tall ships and they didn't have fruit and vegetables, well, then they ended up with getting scurvy and they could die. The second generation is all about prevention. So this is when we started to know that if you started taking supplements and they started making vitamin C in tablet forms and pure forms, vitamin D, things that we were starting to lack, maybe because of just the environment. This was the start of it, that we could become healthier. But what can happen with that as well, you can actually start taking too much supplements, and that's actually really bad for you. The third generation is when they've actually started realizing about the superfoods. So everyone knows about chia seeds and all these incredible, like maca and all these great kind of superfoods that you can put inside, you know, your smoothies and things like that, and they're really, really good for you. And then you have the fourth generation, which is basically about targeted delivery with nanotechnology. And then you come to the fifth generation. And this is where I get really, really excited, because that's where we are. So the most recent and newly emerging generation of nutritional supplements truly begins to open up the possibility of biohacking the aging code through nutrigenomics. Now, this is basically where LiveVantage is. This is where we have actually come upon, so most other companies are in the first to third generation, but we have actually skipped all them, and we are actually activating the body so that it's actually biohacking, and we are changing your actual aging code. So our vision is to empower 1 million people to live a life activated. Now, I think this will surpass the 1 million. I think this is just a small vision they have at the moment. I think we are going to impact millions upon millions of people in the next few years, which is so exciting. And our purpose is to biohack the aging code. How cool is that? So our approach, we actually want you to live longer and much, much longer. To truly enjoy an extreme longevity, we know that people will need to actually improve their financial as well as their physical health. So that's why we've combined these cutting-edge nutrigenomics with an entrepreneurial vehicle, which is direct sales, that empowers individuals to just do that. And we call it a Life Activated. Now, just a small bit about the company before we actually go on to the science. We actually were a retail product. We were a small biotech science company that had come up, Dr. Joe McCord had actually come up with Protandim, and we had actually gone in and become a retail product. But what had happened is when we were in GNC stores, nobody knew what oxidative stress was. So we were actually selling half a bottle per month, every month inside in these stores. So when we were about to kind of go out of business, a marketing consultant looked at an ABC primetime investigative report that was actually done on the company. And I really encourage anybody that if you would like some information about this, to actually go on the abcliveit.com. Whoever introduced you to this program tonight will actually give you that information. But I really encourage you to go on and actually watch that program, because it goes for about 7 minutes. It was such interesting. So we actually became a direct sales company only because the marketing consultant and everyone knew that once you actually took Protandim and you actually started feeling really good, whether it was with your sleep or energy or stress, people just started to just share it with their family and friends. So what happened in 2009, we became a direct sales company with about a turnover of about 3 million. Well, we went on to 2017 having over $220 million in sales. And we haven't even, they say we haven't even scratched the scratch yet. We haven't even got to the surface of all this yet. So it's a really, really exciting time for us. So now I'm going to actually pass you over to this beautiful lady, Nicola Rule. I've been really honored to get to know Nicola over the last few months. I actually am so honored with the knowledge that she has and just the passion she has and her story. I hope you get to hear lots about her and you understand why we have her on tonight. And yeah, hopefully you'll get to know a lot more about nutrigenomics and Protandim and oxidative stress at the end of this. So over to you, Nicola, if you can unmute.
Thanks, Jay. Can everyone hear me? Yep, cool. Well, welcome. And thanks for the lovely introduction, Jay. And thanks for sharing that information with us. I'm a natural therapist. I've been on the Sunshine Coast now for about 14 years, but I've been involved in the natural health industry for the last 15 years. I've studied forms of energy medicine, energy healing. I transferred that knowledge to the physical work and took on massage. I've also studied reflexology, big interest in the body and how it works. I came to be involved with LifeVantage in November last year to start off with as a customer. I took the product myself for about 6 months. I'll explain a little bit about my own health journey in a moment. But what are we, 2 months ago now, 3 months ago, almost 3 months, I decided to take it on as a business because I saw what it did for me and my own health results. And I also started to see the bigger picture of what it did for other people. And so I'm really passionate now, and I'm on a mission to share it with as many people as I possibly can. And it's why I'm here today to share it with you. So I'm really interested in how things work, and I like to explain the science, and I like people to understand what oxidative stress is and how that occurs in the body and what it looks like. Because I think the more you understand the process of the body and how it works, the more you understand what's going on. I think it's easier for your journey to really relate to that process. So oxidative stress, as you can see from the picture here, if we cut an apple in half and we leave it in the air, it starts to change colour. That's oxidization occurring. That's the breakdown of the cells of the apple, and they become oxidized. And so we can liken it to the body internally beginning to rust and break down. And it's a natural process that begins in our mid to late 20s. It starts to happen naturally, and it's a natural symptom, side effect, if you like, of the aging process. As you can see on the right there, it leads to many disease states. I think currently is it 200 to 400 disease states it's responsible for. So we'll go into that a bit more in a moment. If you can flick the slide there, G, that would be great. Thank you. So I want you to get an understanding of what oxidative stress looks like in the body and how you can recognize that. So as I explain a little bit of this, I want you to think about your own story and your own pathway and see if it starts to ring any bells. So oxidative stress, like I say, it occurs over a lifetime. It can start quite early on in the body. Childhood trauma is definitely associated with oxidative stress. I saw an article recently which links childhood trauma to autoimmune disease, which when you look at the science, autoimmune diseases, oxidative stress underlies those. Prolonged periods of busy stress, modern day busyness, our lifestyles, we don't stop. We're all part of the rat race, even if we don't work city lifestyles. We're busy. I'm a mum. I've got 3 children. I run my own remedial massage clinic. I also now work with Pretandem. My day starts at 6 o'clock in the morning and often does not stop till 9 o'clock at night every day. And as much as I love my body and all of my lifestyle, that does take a toll on the body. So that's a side effect of modern day busyness. Environmental chemicals. Our environment these days is full of chemicals, household products, our furniture, the pollution from cars as we walk down the road. Chemicals are everywhere. And studies show that there are 80,000 chemicals used in America at the moment in the household that have not been tested for human safety. Now that's scary. You're wiping down your kitchen benches with this sort of stuff. It's not really good at all. Processed foods, I don't really have to explain that. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, too many supplements. I didn't know this until I came across oxidative stress and LifeVantage, and I've done my own research because as part of my health story, which you'll hear in a moment, I was taking a lot of supplements, and I didn't know that when you take too many supplements or you take lots, the body, the body metabolizes those and breaks them down, as a side effect, creates more oxidative stress. So I found that really interesting because a lot of people today are supplemented up to the eyes. It's quite common, even in the natural health world. Too much exercise. So people who think that they're healthy, often when you push the state of exercise to extreme, you are creating free radicals in the body. And over a long period of time, that builds up to more oxidative stress. And then we come to disease evolution. So I won't spend too long on this. I'll give you a quick rundown of what this means. It's a term that's coined or been used in the natural health industry for quite a while. And when you think of disease states, they're not something that we just wake up with. You know, you don't just wake up one day and have diabetes. You don't just wake up one day and have a thyroid condition. You don't just wake up one day and have MS. These things build up in the body over time. And so how does that happen? So I'll give you a quick rundown of my own story, because I hope that this will help you to understand a bit about my journey and why I'm here now. But also, as disease evolves in the body, you get to a point where that oxidative stress is rampant, and it really does make you quite unwell. So before I explain that, so oxidative stress is when your antioxidants in your body are outnumbered by free radicals. So when we are born with a certain amount of free radicals in the body naturally, and we are born with a certain level of antioxidants. And then over time, as these things kick in, you know, we grow up, we get busy, etc., the natural aging process kicks in, that balance starts to shift, and the free radicals start to overtake the antioxidants. Now, when you're in that state, that's when oxidative stress is taking place, and that's when these disease states start to pop up. So that's it in its basic form or explanation. So for myself, I grew up in a house where there was domestic violence. It was quite a stressful place to live. It was quite a stressful time, and that happened up until about the age of 9 for me. I was in that state of chronic stress, chronic anxiety. By the time I hit 10 to 12, symptoms of PTSD came out. Lots and lots of trauma. It was all bottled up inside. We never really discussed it or talked about it. Nobody really knew. So these things just stayed inside me and kind of ate me away for quite a while. And then as I got into my teenage years, you know, food issues were a result of my anxiety. Food, what is the word? Food, overeating, undereating, kind of like eating disorders. Nothing was ever diagnosed, because this is something that occurred over a period of time that, like I say, we never talked about. So I never knew until I was older, looking back and working through all this stuff, how this was occurring. So anyway, so as the years went by, digestive issues got worse. Depression, anxiety symptoms got worse. When I was in my early 20s, the depression was quite bad and the anxiety was quite bad, to the point that there was days where I wouldn't want to leave the house because I was that anxious. What else? I've had discs in my back bulge. That was in my late 20s that occurred. What else? I've had a lot of things. I've had a lot of things happen over my lifetime. But long story short, by the time I got into my late 20s, early 30s, all of these incidents and the anxiety and the depression over a long time, like, don't get me wrong, there would be periods where I would be okay, but then there would be periods where a stressful event would occur and it would tip me over the edge and it would send me straight back into that really negative, stressed and depressed mindset. I now know that this was my cells and my body overloading because it couldn't take any more stress, because it was already in a state of quite severe oxidative stress. So by the time I got into my 30s, I was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus. It evolved. So does this make sense? I hope this is making sense. Over time and over a lifetime of 30 years, disease states got worse and worse and worse for me. Everything progressed and progressed and progressed, to the point that my immune system was really suffering. And that's when the Epstein-Barr virus was diagnosed, because I was suffering really chronic fatigue, brain fog, terrible digestion. I'd lost a lot of weight, really wasn't in good shape at all. You know, I've got toddlers. I couldn't get up and be a mum with them. That made me feel worse. And then the last symptom that really, really pushed me over the edge, and I chuckle to myself at this, is that my hair started to turn white. And it was at this point that I thought, I can't take any more of this anymore. You know, what is this? And all my life, I've always used natural supplements. I've used natural everything. I was mentored by a naturopath for 8 years, and she taught me a lot about natural health, and she looked after me. And so when I was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr, I was taking all the right things. I was eating clean food. I was exercising until the fatigue got really bad. You know, I know about mindfulness and meditation and all of those things. I practice what I preach in my clinic, and I was using all the tools that I had at my disposal. And I was taking all the right supplements. And when I found out that I was suffering with oxidative stress, I asked my friend, could she help me with supplements? And we went on a supplement regime to treat oxidative stress. Now, I was doing this regime for a good 5 or 6 months, and nothing was working. And that's when I came across Pretendum, because a friend of mine, we trained together, and I'd seen her. It's Una, if you're here. Hi, Una. She shared it with me, and within 3 months, I started to notice a big difference. My energy levels were a lot better. I was coping a lot better. And by 5 months, all of my symptoms were gone. My fatigue, my glandular fever, my digestive system, my anxiety, my low mood. I wasn't depressed, but I felt quite low. It was all gone, and I was back to living a life, and absolutely fantastic. So I hope that you can see how that explains how over a lifetime, like I say, if you relate that back to your own story or your own, you know, things that you've dealt with over a lifetime, maybe that might connect some dots. Because like I said, it's not something that happens, you just wake up with one day. It's eaten away in the body over time, and you may not necessarily feel it until you're in that disease state. And oxidative stress is the number one factor related to aging and disease states. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So we can flick to the next one. So Pretendum is a natural activator. It's not a supplement. I have a bottle here, so if anybody that doesn't know what it is, it's one little pill, and it contains these 5 natural ingredients. So you can see turmeric, ashwagandha, green tea, milk thistle, and bacopa. So it's a nutrigenomic that turns on an activation of Nrf2, which signals a protein messenger. It binds to DNA, and it produces enzymes that protect you from the bad stuff, which is what we've just talked about. It's our environment, it's our stress, it's cellular damage. Oxidative stress is really heavily damaged cells. And so these natural ingredients come together as a synergy. So it's not a supplement, it's different. This is what's absolutely exciting about this, is for me, when I was taking the vitamin C and I was doing all of those things, I was taking those to supplement low levels of issues in my body, but it wasn't working. A supplement tops something up that's lacking in the body. These 5 ingredients here are not found in the body. When you put them together and you put them in this synergy, you take it, it actually triggers that natural response. And so you're not putting something in your body or supplementing, you are turning on a genetic response, and your body starts to create its own antioxidants, which is so exciting because there is nothing out there in the world that does this. It's completely unique. So as you can see, it's got 9 patents. It's protected, the ingredients. Dr. Joe McCord has been very clever. He's patented this ingredient, so nobody else can get their hands on this information. It reduces oxidative stress, and it's the only natural, to be Nrf2 activator, proven to extend life. It's the only product out there that is actually proven to extend life. That's huge. There is nothing out there that does this. It's massive. Okay, and it's also, before we go on to this slide here, Pretendum can be taken by children. It can be taken, adults can take it. There's no side effects. It doesn't interact with other medications. It's something that can be taken alongside. But if anybody has any doubts, all you need to do is take the science to your healthcare practitioner, and they can have a look and give you the okay and monitor you. We've had many people, many clients that often on very heavy medication when they start out taking Protandim, but because it has actual science behind it, it's got 23 peer-reviewed studies, GPs, medical practitioners, natural practitioners, they understand the science, it's there. And so you can work with your natural health practitioners, or like I said, or GPs to be monitored and to hopefully over time reduce medications. Don't do that without the care of your practitioner. So I popped this little slide in here to give you an idea of the chronic state of our healthcare system in Australia. Now, these are figures taken from government websites, and as you can see there, at the moment, or 2013, so this is actually slightly old, I'm sure this figure is even higher, is costing us annually $147 billion a year. And this is expected to increase due to the burden of chronic disease. Now, what causes chronic disease? Oxidative stress. It's the number one factor for chronic disease. And as you can see there, that's 1986 right the way to 2013. And it's not leveled out, it's just increased and increased and increased and increased. Because oxidative stress is rampant in our society. So as a result of that, in the last few years, like G mentioned before, the superfood industry's gone mad and everybody's eating and trying to take antioxidants. It's been quite popular over the last few years. But what this infographic here explains is that in your body, one molecule of your body's own enzyme can eliminate 1 million free radicals. Okay, so one of your body's own molecules can eliminate 1 million free radicals. It would take, so one serve of blueberries will eliminate 6,500 free radicals. And it takes 15 pounds of blueberries. And for those of you that don't know what pounds are, that's 6 kilos of blueberries to be the strength of just one of our body's molecules. So you would have to eat a lot of blueberries. It would take 375 oranges every day to produce the strength of one of your body's molecules to fight 1 million free radicals. Now, Protandim activates that molecule. What is it? It's 1 million molecules every second of every day. That's how strong and potent Protandim is. So if you look at it like that, you can see how important and also how exciting this is as a product. There is nothing like this out there. Okay, so this here is taken from Washington State University, did a study. They are nothing to do with our company whatsoever. They are completely independent. And they conducted a study about Protandim and its effects in prevention and or treatment of disease states. And as you can see there on the bottom right-hand corner, the result of that study was that they labelled it potentially the most extraordinary therapeutic breakthrough in the history of medicine. And you can see so far from the information that we've looked at why that is. Now, this wasn't typed up by me. I copied and pasted this into the slides, and this was the results of their studies. So raising Nrf2, which Protandim does, is reported to be useful in prevention and or treatment in animals or humans. Cardiovascular diseases, that's huge in our society at the moment. Neurodegenerative diseases, I think Alzheimer's listed there, Huntington's disease, cancer prevention. That's huge at the moment. Chronic kidney diseases, metabolic diseases, type 2 diabetes, obesity, toxic liver disease. Now, autoimmune disease, this excites me because when you think of autoimmune disease, you're looking at thyroid conditions, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, oh goodness me, it's been a long day, my mind escapes me. Autoimmune. You can see, you don't need me to explain all these or list them all out. You can see how important this is. Inflammatory bowel disease, that's another one. That's huge. MS, epilepsy, and HIV and AIDS. I don't believe that there's treatment for that at the moment, or if it is, it's very, very expensive. And I'm not sure what the success rates are. So I hope that this is, if you don't know anything or you've not heard anything about Protandim before, I hope that seeing this really excites you as much as it excites me, because our health system is definitely changing, and Nrf2, it's a very new, I say new, not a lot of people know about it. Our GPs certainly don't know about this at the moment. It was discovered 10, 20 years ago, but like I say, in the next 5 to 10 years, this is going to be a household name, and this is how people are going to be treated. This is treating the root cause of chronic disease. You know, if you look at these disease states here, diabetes, thyroid, inflammatory bowel disease, at the moment, these are all treated, but it's the symptoms. We're only treating symptoms. We're not getting to what is causing these disease states. And Protandim reduces oxidative stress. Oxidative stress underlies all common disease states that we see today. You know, like G said earlier on, we're not allowed to claim that we treat or cure, but I'm sure that you can work it out. So Protandim is the future of positive healthcare. Why? These, again, were also taken from a government website just recently. And you can see there, 342,000 people visit a GP each day. And from the chart that we saw before, disease states are still on the increase. What we're doing at the moment doesn't work. It's not working, it's not helping. And this quote at the bottom here, there is a broad agreement that Australia should be investing in more preventative health. That was an outcome of one of their studies looking at the issues of chronic disease. So I would rather invest in preventative health than end up at the end of the road in a mess, which is where I was headed until I found Protandim. So we also work or have a skincare line, which is really exciting because this is the only skincare range on the market at the moment that has that Nrf2 technology. 4-part system. You can see it's got no sulfates, parabens, formaldehyde, which is what they use with cadavers, GMOs, petroleum, mineral oil, artificial colours. It's great for the most sensitive skin. Now I can vouch for this because I've been using this now for about 2 months, and I do have really sensitive skin. My skin reacts to lots of things, and this has been really great for me. I've really enjoyed using this, and I've seen lots of good results with other people that use it too. So it's on special until the end of the month. It's $189 for all 4, including postage. I think that saves you about $40. I think it's $227 plus postage, $50. Yeah, I think it's close to $50. So it would be worth investing. I've got my bottles here to show you, if you can see these. I've been using these now for 2 months. As you can see, they do last. I tend to pump my number 1 a bit more in the shower, and that's the number 3. So they're really, really good value for money as well. Okay, so the number 2. This is, I've written some notes down here. So it says on the screen that it's not a toner. I believe it's like a toner and a serum combined. So this is quite a potent thing to use. It's really good on the skin. Helps the skin to be more luminous. Like you see, it's ethanol free. It's great after shaving and great for sunburn. The beauty with this skincare is it's different to others in that most skincare, or all skincare that are out there on the market at the moment, they only penetrate about 3 layers down through the skin. True Science actually goes 6 layers deep, and it's also activating that same genetic response in the genes in your skin and face, or wherever you put it on the body. And so it's Protandim. It's like Protandim in a bottle, this stuff, that it's doing the same thing. So it's getting your skin to repair itself from the inside out. So all of these products here are great for scars. They're great for repair. Like I've had acne in the past, and I can see my skin is getting a lot clearer. a lot of the bumps and things are starting to even themselves out. Sulfate free, pH neutral. This is the number 3 eye serum. It's great for upper eyelids, crow's feet, frown lines. We had a giggle about this the other week. I have one for every child that I have, and they're starting to heal up and look a lot better, which is great news. This one, like it says, less is best with this one because it really spreads quite far. And the number 4, the healing cream. This is really, really great cream. It's not a moisturizer, it is a healing cream, and this has the Nrf2 technology in it. Deeply hydrating for the skin, softens and helps diminish the fine lines. Great for anti-aging and against sunspots and sunburn. I had a friend that's been using this for a couple of months, and she said to me the other week, she'd been out, we've had a really hot winter here in Queensland, and last week it was like a hot summer's day, and she'd spent the whole day at a sports carnival with her boys. And normally after a whole day in the sun, because she's also English and has that really fair English skin, she would be burnt, and her face would be burnt and her nose would be burnt, and there was nothing. There was nothing there. It helps against sun damage, and I think because her cells have started to repair themselves from the inside out, they could actually take the sun a lot better because, you know, the cells weren't damaged, they've been repaired, which I think is quite exciting. So as you can see here, here's some pictures of people that have been using it. That's a lady after 60 days. You can see all the lines and everything starting to even out and tone up. This is really exciting. On the right-hand side there, you can see after 3 months use, this lady with psoriasis. Both of these pictures here, they've been using Protandim. So on the inside, taking the little yellow pill, and then also using the cream externally. So, excuse me, the two quite together are a very, very potent combination. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Wasn't she amazing? So I'm just going to talk for just a few minutes now on the business side. So if there's anyone that came on this evening and we're just thinking, look, I was really interested in hearing from Nicola and knowing a bit about the products and what Nrf2 activation is, but you're not interested in knowing how you could get your products paid for, or not looking at the business and everything, we have no problem if you'd like to jump off the Zoom now. We won't be at all offended. But if there is any of you out there that's anyway curious, like I was, you know, that little entrepreneur head kind of came on and just went, okay, I want to find out a little bit more about this and how I could maybe fit this into my life, because I'm actually a very, very busy person. Like Nicola, I've got kids, I've got a business, lots of stuff going on, but I still saw an opportunity that I wanted to try and help as many people as possible. So what is the new economy and what's happening now in this day and age that wasn't happening years ago? Well, more and more people are actually working from home, or they're working online. When you look at Amazon is actually, their shares compared to like Walmart and everything, I think Walmart's going backwards, and Amazon is like, I don't know, at 3,000% growth or something like that. That's incredible. Facebook doesn't actually own any content, but they are the leading content provider in the world. Airbnb don't actually own any accommodation, but they are the #1 accommodation in the world. So there is this trend now, and it's called the new economy. And basically what we're doing is we're providing virtual franchisees basically from our phones. Like everything I nearly do is from my phone. So what I saw for me and for my family, and what I saw that could potentially help men and women out there that basically just wanted to have some choices and thought, okay, in the crux of my day, in a half an hour here and there, how could I maybe work on a plan B that will either get me out of my 9-to-5 grind, or will set me up that when I'm ready to come off and start maybe having children, that I've set a plan B in place that I can work from home, or that they're thinking, wow, I've got retirement coming up in the next 7 or 8 years, and we don't really have that much saved up, or I don't think what we have saved up is enough. So I would like to plan now to actually put this business in place just on your phone or on your computer, a couple of hours a week, that can actually set you up then for the rest of your life. And what we have is virtual franchises. Now, virtual franchises is basically, we have customers and a network of customers all over the world. And what actually also happens is some of them customers then end up going on to become distributors. And this can happen that you can go to bed at night. And I've had this happen quite a bit recently. You go to bed at night and your group may not be, or your team may not be in Mexico, let's say. And when you wake up, you now have a Mexico team. Somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody spoke to somebody in Mexico, and suddenly they're in your team, and now you have a team in Mexico, and I love it. It's like this can all be done from a beach, from when your kids are on school holidays. I don't dread that anymore because I can just work with my phone anywhere in the world. So this is what it kind of looks like. Some customers stay customers, and we've got about 80-something% of our of all the people that are in LifeVantage are customers. But then there is a certain amount of people that say, do you know what, I see this opportunity. I see that I'm pioneering something that is that in that 5th generation. But what happens when you pioneer is that you are always one step ahead of the game. And it's kind of like, who would have liked to have been the first chiropractor in a town, or the first doctor in a town? Well, naturally, everyone's going to come to you. So that's what we're doing. We are pioneering something that is just not out there. You will not find Nutrigenomics and a natural Nrf2 activator out there in the world that hasn't been made with synthetic, because some of the pharmaceutical companies have got onto it now, but they are all using synthetic products. So why LifeVantage and why now? Well, a lot of it has to do with timing. So when you start any business, there is always a foundation stage that you go through. Now, this can go from anywhere from 1 to 10 years or 1 to 3 years, depending what business you're in. Where LifeVantage is in this growth, so you've got revenue and millions on the left-hand side, and then time lapse. So at the moment, we are a $220 million company. Now, we have had a whole new structure of CEO and a whole new board come on. And these guys are very, very, very experienced. They've had over 20, 30 years in direct sales experience all themselves. Now, they have predicted that we are going to go from a $220 million company to a $1 billion company in the next 5 years. Now, LifeVantage in America is probably at where foundation, the end of foundation, and basically where the S is. Where we are in Australia is probably where the F is on foundation. So when you talk about timing, you actually couldn't get a better place to start your timing. You are at the first. Have you ever wanted to win a race, or ever thought, I want to be the first for something? Well, this is definitely what you'd be doing if you came and joined LifeVantage. And what happens is when you actually come in at that stage and you set up foundations and you learn and you grow your team, and you come alongside whoever introduced you tonight from whatever team, because what I love about LifeVantage is we are one big family. Everyone in Australia, we all love and support each other because we come from that health, and we come from the abundance that there is out there. And we're just all on a mission. We're on a mission to try and change people's lives and change the health world in Australia and then in the world. But what happens when you join then? And then this company will hit momentum in the next maybe 3 to 4 years. My word, your business will be forever stable. And up where that stabilization phase is, that's where your Amways, your Avon, your Tupperware. Do you know that Amway still has $1 billion in sales per month? Tupperware is like $750 million. So they're very established companies. So we're just still in that F with something that's never been out there. So it's really, really exciting. More facts. Now, if you walk down the street and spoke to anyone basically in Australia and said, hey, do you know anything about Nrf2 activation, or do you know anything about Protandem? They would probably say no. So you have a wide open market. Who needs Protandem? Who's got oxidative stress? Everybody. So I say to somebody, who do you know that has problems sleeping, feels stressed, has no energy, or is in pain? And everybody says everyone. I'm like, well, there you go. There's your market. So you have such an open market, and there is no competition for what we have. We are federally funded. We are a AAA rated by the Direct Selling Association. That's top rated company. We are unique, we're affordable, and the product is like $57 a month. That is nothing. Clinically proven, and we can deliver results. Australia is predicted to actually be able to deliver $10 million in monthly sales. At the moment, we are nowhere near that. So again, timing is perfect, and you would be part of this foundational team for Australia as we move forward. And more, every day we are seeing more and more people in Australia coming in and wanting to join this now. We get paid in 9 different ways, and I'm not going to actually really go through a lot of this, but one thing I would like to show you is one that we have really good upfront money, which I really like about Protandim. So while you're actually learning, you're earning. And then we've got really good back-end money. So when you've actually done all your hard work, there is a really solid business monetary form that is there for you as well. So I've just got here the total earnings, and these are something that because we are part of NASDAQ, we actually have to show what our earnings are. So if you have a look here at the monthly average, I always say to everybody, just check out we say that the first level of business is around a Pro 3 level. Now that is somebody earning around $500 a month. Now that's a car repayment. You know, while you're earning and learning and doing this in the pockets of your day, that can either be money that you put away to go on a holiday, or it could be something like a car repayment. Then you start getting into, you know, I'm at the Premier Pro 6 level. You start getting into that Premier Pro 7 level, and that's really game changing. That's really giving you some serious choices. Do I need to work? Shall I cut down on my hours? Can I give my job up? They're the kind of things that you'd be looking at. And what I say to people is, check this all out. Like that Master Pro 10, I know a lot of the Master Pro 10s that they are earning a lot more than that $80,000 US, because this was done in 2015. A lot of them are way up in the hundreds per month. And I say to people, what if this took you 10 years? What if it took 10 years? So what? Look at what other kind of business or industry could you get in for really not very much, a fraction that you can actually sell your products on and actually redeem your money. And that's something that we would work. Whoever brought you on tonight can tell you about the packs. I'm not here to try and sell anything, just here to show you the opportunity. But they can actually show you how you can actually make your money back, and they would help you. That's what I love about this industry. We're all out to help everybody, because when you succeed, everyone else succeeds as well. So you're in one of 3 places at the moment. You might have loved what you've seen, but you've thought, you know what, I really need to do a little bit more research. And I would really encourage you to go on PubMed. That's www.pubmed, which is pubmed.gov. And actually do your own bit of research. Put in there oxidative stress and see the amount of studies that have been done. There's about 165,000 published medical studies that have been done on oxidative stress. If there is a disease that you're interested in to see the relationship that it has with oxidative stress, pop it in and oxidative stress and see what comes about. Or you might decide, you know what, $57, that's $2 a day. What value do I place on my health? A lot more than $2 a day. This could change your life. You might say, right, I'm ready to get started. And I just say to you, please do not go on Protandim for 1 month unless you're 10 years of age. Protandim, we suggest you take it for a month for every decade that you've been on Earth. So if you're 40 years of age, we say to you, look, give it a proper go. It is an all-natural product, and it actually needs to take that time to actually work in your body and to actually get that glutathione working as well. Glutathione normally starts kicking in after the 120 days, after 3 months. Once your body and cells have been toxified, then the glutathione can really start kicking in. So we do say to you, please give it what it's due and give it some time. Or you might be a bit like me and you might go, wow, I see the opportunity. I've never been first at anything. I want to be a pioneer. I see this can really help so many people I know, but also can help my family long term. And I want to know more about this. And what I would suggest you doing is go back to the person that invited you tonight. And if you've got any questions or want to ask myself and Nicola anything, they can get in touch with us and let us know. So I just want to thank you very much. I just see here that there's a couple of questions. I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Nicola. Okay, everyone was just saying thank you, which is great. Your story was amazing. Great. Okay, well, look, I just want to thank everybody for coming on. As I say, if you've got any questions for us, please get in touch with whoever brought you on, and they will get in touch with us and we'll be able to help you further. Okay, thank you and good night, everybody.